Next up, taking a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Ram 1500. Now, one thing to point out, this is the Sport model, and you can tell right along the very top because it's got the Sport model badge there. So the badge that you get and the basic look is going to depend on which trim level of the vehicle that you're in. But you're going to get this digital cluster pretty much across the board. And you can see there, so adjusting the steering wheel, just by your left knee, there's a little release, and it's manual telescoping. Just click, lock that bad boy back into place to create that perfect position for you. But I gotta say, steering wheel inside of this thing is nice. Along the screen itself, so there is the option for the heated steering wheel, so you can toggle it on there if you'd like to. But first thing I gotta point out, I love the way that the steering wheel feels. It's solid. Got paddle shifters inside of this thing, so minus on the left, plus on the right-hand side, so you can adjust gears out on the fly if you want to. Very useful if you want to focus on engine braking. So nice. It's good, I love it. Along the back of the steering wheel on top of that, there are a few other buttons. So the one on the left-hand pad, and that's going to adjust a few things out. So you're essentially looking at jumping between your different presets with the button in the middle, and then you can go up and down if you wanted to change out between different stations individually as well. So if you're on Sirius XM, if you're on AM, FM, whatever the case may be, you can seek out on the left-hand side. Along the right-hand side there, you can jump between your different active sources that are available. And then you can kind of go up and down in order to be able to adjust your volume out that way too. Really beneficial. Honestly, I love that feature on Dodge vehicles, Ram vehicles, Jeep vehicles, etc. It's such a useful feature. But a few things to point out. So stick on the left-hand side. It's going to be for your windshield wipers. And you can push in order to mist and then flash out your high beams or lock out as needed. Very straightforward there. All the little highlights, little Ram in the very middle. Pad on this side is going to be to adjust what's going on with the cluster. Along the right side is going to be for cruise control. And this one just has regular cruise, and you can tell because it's missing the adaptive buttons that would typically be along the side there. So it's really just a distance indicator, so how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. But you can toggle on regular cruise control that way if you want to. And then once you get to speed, you're going to set it, so plus or minus 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. You can cancel or you can resume your cruise control. So that's going to be the standard, whether you have the adaptive cruise or not. It's just that with the adaptive cruise, you'll also have a few other buttons to set a few other basic things here as well. Along this side, so you've got a few other buttons. So you've got one to either hang up on a phone call or answer a phone call. There's another button in order to change between different screen modes. And then you're using this pad to go through the screen itself. So let's zoom you in a tiny little bit so you can see what's going on. And all I'm doing as I go is just adjusting through this pad. So firstly, I guess I want to show you the different views that are available. So you've kind of got this little split view. And it's so good. See what's going on with navigation. So many different things. So if you click through, you can see what's going on with the map itself. Perfect. So map in cluster, which, I mean, I gotta say, that is such a neat feature. And it's so cool because, like, yeah, you can get a head-up display inside of this, but just having the map right in cluster there, I just think is so beneficial. It's good. And then you can go up and down between subpages. So there's essentially going to be primary pages and subpages. So starting off with speedometer, you've got the traditional speedometer versus if you wanted to have a digital view instead, you could push OK in order to go miles per hour. And you can see along the very bottom there, we're going between different pages. So it's speedometer versus, and then you go down for vehicle info. So you've got a series of other kind of like sub pages on this one. So you can go with just basic vehicle info, gauge summaries, engine power. So as you're giving it a little bit of gas, you can see what's going on there. You can hold OK to reset if you wanted to adjust your oil yourself. So if you're changing oil yourself, you're just going to reset it from this screen. And there, tire pressure, start stop info, which not available there, and idle hours for the vehicle. Dropping down for different performance pages. Well, let's go OK, so you can see what's going on with lap timers for 0 to 60s. Nice. Across, drag timers, braking performance, G-forces, performance timers, lap history, and then your top speed. Damn, not bad. And then you can press OK in order to be able to reset. Back down, you've got trip info, so trip A versus B counter. If you wanted to reset, you're just pressing and holding OK in order to reset that. There's navigation, which, I mean, we saw that earlier, so you've got map in cluster. So let's go through and let's find an address. So I want to find a point of interest icon. Probably going to search for something like a Tim Hortons around me. You could technically use your voice if you wanted to, but I'm just going through the screen and I'm just going through. Let's search for If you want to see what's going on as we go. Point of interest icons. So we're going through, you've got parking, food. So it's just searching. You can look at subcategories, and there are so many options. It's ridiculous. Okay, I'm just going to select one. We're going to Dairy Queen. All right, so Dairy Queen, and we're going to hit drive. And drive. So in just a second there you can see. So mapping cluster, and it shows you exactly where you need to go. Now there is also, will you be able to see it? Little head-up display. You can kind of see it going crazy there. So there is a head-up display that's available inside of this thing.
You will arrive at your destination at 2:07 p.m.
Why, thank you. And you can see right there, so you can see what's going on with current road speed, current speed, and then you've also got which direction you're turning. So there's quite a little bit of info available inside of the cluster. It's just unfortunate. It's going a little bit crazy right now. But I just love having mapping cluster. Whenever I see it in a vehicle, I'm like, yes, technology. It's amazing. This is good. All right, and shooting across. Actually, let's end the route there. Yes, and the route, and dropping down. So next up, so we go from navigation into off-road dynamics. So as you rotate the wheel, you can see there, you can see what's going on with your steering angle, drivetrain, so if you've locked out differentials, things like that. And then pitch and roll. So depending on what's going on with the vehicle. So if you're off-roading, very, very useful. Trailer tow, you can see how far you towed. And then basic audio available there on top of that. So you can see what's currently going on with stations, but I mentioned behind the steering wheel in order to be able to adjust out instead. Dropping down for messages and then different settings. So you can see what's going on with the head-up display. You can toggle the display off if you want to. So on, off. What do you want showing in the HUD? Do you want it to be standard versus simple versus advanced for more information? Or do you want to customize it to be able to set what's on the HUD? And when you do that through the media screen itself, it gives you the flexibility of adjusting out. So you can kind of scroll through and cycle through different option layouts and things like that. So it is kind of neat that that's available. Pushing OK through, you can go to standard, simple, advanced, where there's just a lot more information available in the HUD. So it's just a matter of preference, but I love that you've got that flexibility. Nice. Okay, and that is, I think that's the basics there. Perfect. All right, so HUD on, off, etc. Good. And exit back down to our digital speedometer again. And then you can shoot across again, left and right to go to those sub pages, and then you can push the little button, so this little guy, in order to be able to go to this different view. So it is kind of neat that you've got that available as an option. So you've got kind of like a quick digital select instead to go between A, B counters if you had navigation going, go between different gauges there, off to the side, so whatever gauges and things like that are available. Kind of neat. So it's going to be a matter, honestly, like this one, it seems a little bit busy to me on this one, but it is kind of nice that you've got so much information that you can see. I personally prefer going to something like this, but I'm a bigger fan of, just this traditional gauge cluster instead. But that's good. Now some basics. You've obviously got your tachometer off to the left side, speedometer off to the right side, digital speed in the middle. As you can see there, a little bit low on fuel with engine temperature. And then even some basics. So along the very bottom there, so you can see there as I'm flashing up the high beams. Boom. So you can see high beam. Can you see it with the shadows? Oh, hold on, let me see. Yeah, whatever. It's there. So you can see, there we go. This will be better. Yeah, so you can see there different lights along the side. Same idea, there's some basic lights along the outside and the bottom right side. You can see current fuel level along that side too. And then the very top, you can see what's going on with current navigation, so which direction you're facing, and then the outside temperature. So there's a little bit of flexibility there, but I mean, so neat. I don't know, what do you think? Are you a bigger fan of like the digital? I'd probably honestly leave it even at this, because you can still see the digital speed along the very top, but having mapping cluster as you go, I just think is a really, really cool feature. So I know that's quite a little bit of information, but that's everything that you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Ram 1500.